is going to be something a little bit different. I'm going to talk to you about the books that I've been enjoying and reading this month, and the books that I'm planning to read next month, as well as what the kids have been reading and the read alouds that we've been doing. I have been really enjoying these kind of videos on YouTube recently. I didn't even know it was a thing. Did you guys know there was such a thing as BookTube? Well, apparently it is. So YouTubers who are into books, they just make videos about what they're reading. They make videos about giving book reviews and what they're hoping to read next month. And so I've just been loving those videos, and I figured if I enjoy it, maybe somebody out there will enjoy my videos too. So I am going to share with you what I've been reading this month and what the kids have been reading too. So first of all, I'll start with this book. I have been reading this book, A Man Called Ove, for ages. Now, it's not a hard read. I don't know why it took me so long, but it's kind of slow moving. It's about an old man who, I think it's based in Sweden, who is the kind of guy who would drive me nuts. He's the kind of guy who does the same thing every single morning. He wakes up at the same time, he wears the same outfit, he has the same, makes his coffee, does everything in the same order. He's driven the same make-up car his entire life. Every time he gets out of the car, he has to pull each handle as he goes around the car. So when you start the book out, when it starts off, you think, oh, this guy's so annoying. But as it progresses, you start to kind of like him. And then you start to kind of admire him. And as more is revealed about him and his story, he does become the hero of the story, very much so. And I only gave this a 3 out of 5 on Goodreads, just because I know that'll shock some of you. Some of you have read this. Like, everyone I know who's read this just loves it. But it was not my favourite because it was just really slow moving. I loved like the dry humour in it, but I'm kind of somebody who likes page turners and like excitement and adventure. This is not excitement and adventure, but it does deal with some really important issues like how we treat the elderly. It talks about suicide. It talks about all the bureaucracy and things like that that are to do with the social care and health system in this country. I mean, it is based in Sweden, but I think, you know, parallels can definitely be drawn in the UK. It raises a lot of interesting questions, and if you enjoy looking at things from an elderly narrative and you like that kind of thing, it's a very good book. It is really well written. It's very, very clever. But just like I said, it was just a bit too slow moving for me. But the ending was great. The ending was really good. The next book that I read is Gods in Alabama. This is by Jocelyn Jackson. I first heard about Jocelyn Jackson from Lydia Senn. I forget the name of her channel, but she talks a lot about frugal living. I'll leave her channel in the description box below if I can remember what it is. And she just recommended this book as one of her favourite books ever. Now, I really enjoyed it. It was really, really clever. It's the story of a young girl who runs away from home, and as the story unravels itself, you learn why she ran away from home and what she's running away from, and she has to return back to home. And it's basically a murder story and an adventure and a thriller and all of that kind of thing, but it's not too gory, it's not too scary. I can't do scary books, so it was good in that sense. The only thing I didn't like about it was that there was a lot of sexual undertones to it, and I'm such a prude about these things. I don't know if you are like that as well, but I don't like too much of that. And although there was nothing explicit at all, there was nothing explicit, I didn't like that kind of undertone that ran throughout it, although it kind of was essential for this particular story. I do really like Jocelyn Jackson. I've already purchased her next book. I'm just waiting for it to come in the post. I forget what it's called, but I would recommend this book if you're not a prude like me, and if you like adventure stories. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 on Goodreads. I can't remember, but I do like this author. I will be reading more of her stuff. The next book that I got was The Terrible Thing That Happened to Barnaby Brockett, and this is by John Boyne. This is actually young adult or maybe even older child literature. I saw this in the library when I was getting books for my kids, and I thought, I don't know what about this front cover really struck me about it, but I had to pick it up. And then when I read like the spiel on the inside, I was completely sold. It's basically a story about a boy who is born into a family who are super normal, and not only are they like really, really normal people, but they go out of their way to make sure that they're normal, and they hate anything that is not, basically. And then they they are given a son, they give birth to a son who can fly. And it's the story about how their family deals with that, and he eventually, it's not a spoiler, it's on the back here, he gets abandoned by his parents, and he has to go off by himself, and he basically goes off on all these adventures, and he travels the world, and he meets all these amazing people. But he can fly, but the way he can fly is he can't control his flying. Like, it's he cannot walk. The only thing he can do is just float up into the air, and it brings up a lot of issues like how we deal with people who are different in society, how we deal with, you know, what is normal, what's normal, and I think it teaches a lot of really important questions to children. And the whole issue of abandonment is dealt with very well. I think it's be suitable for kids who are maybe 12 upwards. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 out of 5 on Goodreads. So that is The Terrible Thing That Happened to Barnaby Brockett by John Boyne. The next thing that I'm reading is Martha Stewart, Martha Inc. I love biographies, particularly about strong women. I love seeing how their childhood has shaped them to become who they are today. And Martha's personality really intrigues me. You know, on one hand, she's this, you know, domestic goddess, and she's all feminine and yeah, and on the other hand, people talk about what a witch she is and how she's a ruthless businesswoman, and I love that. I love that contrast. I just wanted to know more about her, and particularly more about her upbringing and what made her who she is. I'm not even halfway through this book because it's hard work. Like, the author, you feel like you're trudging through lists of names and places, and it's really tough going. I am probably going to finish it, you know, just because I've started it. I'm one of those people, but it's hard going. And already, like, the way that I feel about Martha's, I just kind of feel sorry for her, you know. If you can feel sorry for a billionaire, I don't know if you can, but it's not the best written biography I've ever read, but what can you do? I'm not sure what I'm going to give it on Goodreads, because like I say, I'm not even halfway through, but I thought I'd share that with you. I do like biographies. The next thing is the Fitra Journal, Muslim Homeschooling Journal. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is because my article is in here. I wrote an article about Charlotte Mason and the Charlotte Mason approach, and how it resonates with me as a Muslim, particularly with my faith, and how there are parallels there with the way that we treat children and the nature of the child. So that's why I really wanted to show you this. So if you are interested in reading more about Muslim homeschoolers, Muslim homeschooling, definitely get the Fitra Journal. This is issue 3. All of them are awesome because they are written by Muslim homeschoolers from all over the world, from all walks of life. So you've got single parents, you've got parents, homeschoolers in the Middle East, you've got in the West, you've got those who are homeschooling older children, younger children. I really love this journal. And if you want to find my article, I'm in number 3. So that's everything that I've been reading. My children, where did I put their books? Okay, so my eldest son is just turned 7. So for his assigned reader, he's reading The Odyssey. This is a children's version by Geraldine McCaugrian. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But anyway, he's reading that, and although it was tough going initially for him to get into it, he's really enjoying it now. I think some of the Greek names are difficult for young kids to say, but it's very, very well written. And for fun, he's reading James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl. So he's enjoying that one. He's read most of the Roald Dahls now. I think there's only this one and Matilda and Witches left after this, and then he's done. I don't know what we're going to do after he finishes all of them. My younger son is just learning to read now. So he's working his way through Bob's Books, set 3. And we've also started looking at this. This is the Free and Treadwell Primer. And this is... They're basically fairy tales, but told in a way, I don't know if you can see that. The language is very simple, so he could read that. So he's 5, and I really like these Free and Treadwell books. I'm probably going to get the next one along. And for read alouds, we are still reading The Secret Garden. We have been reading this for so long. I don't know why it's taking us so long. but we are nearly there. I don't know if you can see, just a little bit left. Hopefully, inshallah, hopefully we'll finish this month. And oh yeah, I wanted to show you these 2 more books for my kids. I know this video is going on and on, sorry. But these books we've been using for science. I don't know if I can get them in the frame. So this one is Gregor Mendel by Cheryl Bardot. And it's a true story of the man who's considered to be the first geneticist, and how he discovered how genes work and alleles and stuff from peas. And we've been using this as part of our science because we're looking at botany, and we're learning more about plants and the reproduction of plants and things like that. So it tied in very well with that, and it also has opened up the whole concept of genetics to my kids. So this is a beautiful book. It's beautifully illustrated. Let me see if I can get it. Yeah. So that's been really nice. And another picture book that we've been using for science is A Seed is Sleepy. And that's beautiful. And you know, the thing about picture books like this is they don't have all the information in, but the information they have in really resonates with the child and really resonates with my son, and makes him want to learn more. And I don't think plants are something that most boys are particularly interested in, but when they have beautiful books like this, and it's filled with little interesting facts which my son loves. He loves, you know, the tallest tree, the oldest seed, all of that kind of thing. It's a really beautiful book. There are more in the series. I'm not sure if I'm going to get them or not yet, but if you're looking at botany in your homeschool, I would recommend this one, A Seed is Sleepy. So now what I'm hoping to read next month, I'm going to go through this quick because I know this video is getting really long. Okay. So like I said, I've been looking at loads of other YouTube channels and booktubers, and these are some of the ones that I've picked up. So I think I was watching Arrrgh, I'll leave her link down below in the description box, and she was reading Station 11 and she recommended this. I don't know much more about it than what she said, but basically it's like a apocalyptic post-apocalyptic book, and it sort of switches between before the destruction of civilization and after the destruction. So if you like that kind of thing, it's been talked about a lot, so I'm glad that I got my hands on it. So that's Station 11. The next one that I got is Before the Rains. This is by Dina Jeffries. She has written a lot of romance stories in India. I've not read any yet, but I saw this when I was in the supermarket and I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. So all I know about it is it's a romance set in India in the 1930s, I believe. I assume it's between somebody who's British and an Indian. I don't know. Anyway, I'll let you know if it's good or not. And then the next one I'm reading is A House for Happy Mothers. I'm hoping to read this one. It's by Amulya Maladi. I don't know if I said that right. And this is a story of surrogacy, basically. It's a story of a woman who, I believe she lives somewhere in the West, an Indian woman living in the West who can't have children. And she finds a woman in India who can. And this woman in India is not very wealthy. She doesn't have much money. And so she becomes employed to be the surrogate mother. And it's their story and their journey together through that experience. So the next book is this one. It's In Order to Live. It's a story about a girl from North Korea, and it's her story about, you know, her childhood and her upbringing, what North Korea is really like, because I think, you know, most of us don't know much about North Korea apart from this general feeling that they're bad, you know, whatever that means, that's portrayed by the media. And this girl tells us what it's really like in North Korea and the truth of what's going on. I think I first heard about this again from Arrrgh's YouTube channel. I'm not sure, but I'm really excited to read this. I like biographies, and so we'll see how that one is. Then another channel that I want to give a shout out to is Read, Create, Repeat Homeschool. She does some really good book reviews and some really good book wrap-ups. I've just purchased a book that she recommended called Undivided, which is a story of a Christian mother and her Muslim daughter and their sort of reconciliation, how they dealt with that, their sort of different views and different faiths. And that, I'm still waiting for that to come. That's coming from America, so hopefully I'll get that in time to be able to read it for you for next. I forgot to mention this book. I have just picked up this book and been reading. This is Don Quixote. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but this is one of those classics that I've always wanted to read, but I've been put off because It's so big! But I've just started it and it's really brilliant. It's fantastic. It's a story of a kind of middle-aged man who deludes himself into thinking that he can be a knight. He's read too many stories about the knights and the chivalrous things that they did, and he decides that why not I could be a knight. And he completely self-deluded, and he goes off on adventures in this sort of homemade suit of armour and this dodgy horse donkey thing, and basically he gets into a lot of very difficult situations, and the only reason he gets out of them is because he's completely deluded about reality. It's very, very funny. I think it's one of the first novels that was ever written. It's a very old book, but it's been translated so it's very readable actually now. This is going to take me ages to read. I'm sure by the next video I still won't have finished it, but I'm really, really enjoying it. I think it's been given the Nobel Prize. It was voted the greatest book ever by the Nobel Institute. So a good book, if it's one of those books that everyone should read at some point in their life. So I'm trying to read it now. The book that I want to show you is The Big Reconnecting Self-Love Journal. Now this was sent to me by Brooke, who is the editor of the Fitra Journal, and she has sent me loads of these, so I'm going to be doing a giveaway for you guys. But essentially what this is, it's a journal for women who are struggling with self-love and self-confidence. So it's got prompts in here like list everything that you're thankful for, and write a letter to your younger self thanking her for some choices she's made. List all the things you've accomplished. I think, you know, like personally, when I've gone through ups and downs in my self-confidence, honestly, and one of the big dips was when I converted, and I kind of lost that sense of self. I think that was kind of necessary as part of my conversion, you know, to really take a hold of my new faith. But then I also had a big dip in confidence when I had children, and you know, as much as I love my children, I did kind of lose that sense of self and my self-worth. And it's only recently, since I've started writing and since I've been online and since I've started making an income through my efforts online, that my confidence has really started to grow, and I've started to find myself again through my writing. And I think that's why this particular journal would be really helpful for other women who are struggling with confidence, whether you have children or not, you know, people who are trying to find themselves again. So I do have some of these to give away. I'm going to be keeping one for myself, and hopefully I'll be writing in mine this month. But I have got I've got four to give away to you guys. So if you would like to enter the giveaway, I will make a coordinating blog post to go along with this, and it's really, really straightforward to enter. All you need is an email address to enter, but if you've got Facebook and Twitter, you get extra entries. Basically, let's get this sorted, right? The winner of the giveaway will win one Fitra Journal, Muslim Homeschool Journal, issue number 3, and the Big Reconnecting Self-Love Journal. So that is for the first winner that's selected. And then thereafter I will pick 3 more winners, and each of those winners or those runner-ups will get one of these. So the winner will get these 2, and then the runner-ups will get one of these each. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've been reading anything that you have been really enjoying, anything that you want to recommend to me, please let me know in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching. Until the next video. Bye.